Well, studying great public spaces in cities around the world is instructive, and I do it. But we are tasked with coming up with a great space in the heart of Santa Monica. And one of the challenges I think we have in Santa Monica is that with so many development projects coming at us all at once, on the one hand, we have to look at the cumulative impact of all these decisions we're making and the long-term impact. On the other hand, we do have to look at each proposal individually as to what it creates and what the benefits are in this time at this place. Now, we heard a lot of testimony tonight from people in the community with whom I have worked very closely in opposing bad projects in Santa Monica. And I'm sure in the future I will be working with them on other bad projects in Santa Monica to make sure they don't happen. There are also times when I vote for what I believe to be good projects. And I think that's my job, is to sit here and try to decide what is going to work for our city and what would actually destroy our city. So this is a different situation, say, from a village trailer park. At Village Trailer Park, we had someone evicting vulnerable seniors, building a project I felt didn't produce enough affordable housing. This is very different from the Heinz project, where someone bought an abandoned paper pen factory, paid too much money for it, came to us with a project that was too big and generated too many car trips, and again did not provide affordable housing. And that developer did not negotiate well with our planning commission. Here we have a developer who I think has been extraordinary in how closely he has worked with various people in the community on what this project could be. And it's a piece of land that we own, and we own it for a particular purpose. These were 9 separate lots that we put together over the course of several years. Now, if they had been developed individually by individual landowners, each one would be done in the way that would be the most profitable for whoever owns that land. I was glad to see Mr. Resnick here, who helped with our downtown and the promenade years ago. What have we learned? Okay, the promenade, although it operates in a way as a coherent whole, consists of a strip of separate properties owned by separate property owners. And over the years, the businesses that we loved have been priced out because the rents have gone up. The food court has gone. So many of the things that made the promenade special when it first began. I mean, it's still special in a different way. But I think we learned, or we should have learned, that individual property owners will do what it takes to make the most money on the land. We instead have taken 9 parcels in the heart of our downtown and said, we, the community, will control what happens here. Because we own this, we can tell Mr. Warfel and his team that we want the stores to be of a certain kind that are the kind of affordable shopping that Santa Monicans have told us they want in our downtown, not the high-end boutiques that can afford the rent from somebody else who's just in it to make money. So this is a special opportunity, and I've had some difficult conversations with people who have said, oh, you're going to oppose that, of course. I think I have to think very seriously about what the opportunities here are for our community. Putting in a park is a fairly new idea in the process. Let's remember, we've had 3.5 years of discussions on this. We've had at least 7 different public workshops and hearings, and we got a list from the community of things that we wanted to look for. We were told we wanted usable open space. We wanted a permanent home for the ice rink. We wanted a cultural institution, affordable housing, a mid-price hotel, the locally desired retail, restaurants, parking to serve the project and the downtown as a whole. That's a heck of a want list for any parcel, and this is a parcel of limited size. So we're being asked now to figure out how can we do the most of what the community wants and create the least havoc at the same time. And that is why I suggested that perhaps the office space as a component of this project is something that in our direction we could ask Mr. Warfel to reconsider. Of all the things you can put there that will generate traffic, office space is the biggest traffic generator. Medical office space would probably be the worst. Hotel space, on the other hand, doesn't generate as much traffic as people think, because we just got the figure from our Convention and Visitors Bureau that of the people who come to stay in Santa Monica, 70% don't rent a car. Rod is saying 80, I don't know. But let's say 70. 70 will be good enough for the point I'm making. So hotel guests don't contribute as much to the traffic as office workers do. Likewise, people who live in affordable housing tend to have fewer cars, and housing in general doesn't create the kinds of traffic problems because people are coming and going at a different time of day from what's your gridlock traffic jam downtown. So as we give the direction, I'd be very interested in seeing what happens if we pull out a significant part of the office space and instead look at either expanding the hotel rooms, which gives us city tax revenue, creates more good union jobs, and perhaps take some of the hotel pressure off our town and makes it less likely that we'll get undesirable hotels built in other parts of our downtown that we're worried about, because we know there are other proposals coming at us. We know there is room in the market for more hotel rooms. There's no question. There wouldn't be people proposing to build 3 new hotels in the neighborhood if we couldn't fill hotel rooms on this site in the long run. If we reduce the office space and increase either the housing or the hotel, that might give us a revenue stream that could answer the question about parks, because as I pointed out before, we have open space in our civic center that in our civic center working group on which I served for years, we determined we wanted to keep open space. And right now it's an asphalt parking lot. It's open space of the worst kind. But with the civic auditorium needing to be renovated, we're now looking at the possibility of getting in bed with somebody who would develop that land that could have been open space. Maybe this revenue could help us keep the parkland as parkland. So that would satisfy the need for more park. And don't forget, within 4 blocks of the site we're talking about, there's Palisades Park, Reed Park, Tongva Park. It's not exactly a park-free part of town. It's a pretty short walk to a $46 million park that we just opened across the street. And if you don't think that place is special, please go there after the meeting tonight. It's a good place even at night. So I hope that we can look at the finances as ways of serving the community, generate revenue that we can use to keep the parkland we have. I came in here tonight concerned about the south elevation of the building, and I mentioned this when we talked about it 6 months ago. The south side of this building is pretty much a vertical wall, and that really disturbed me. It was hugely helpful to see that presentation you did of walking down the streets. I don't know who did that, but thank you, because I now realize that actually that south elevation isn't visible from almost any place except maybe the roof of a few buildings nearby. I'm also very heartened to see that this building, even at the highest height proposed, is virtually invisible from Ocean Avenue. And so therefore, I kind of feel like the height per se is not the issue. It's what we get out of the land we own and what we can give the community back from the land we own, because the height in this location wouldn't have the same impact it would if, say, it was on Ocean Avenue. I hear loud and clear the concern from the community that if we allow this kind of height on this site, it sets a precedent. And this means that somewhere down the road, it'll be easier for a developer to talk us into 300 feet someplace on Ocean Avenue. And I think that that is something I very much want to address. I don't think this has to be a precedent, and I think there's actually a way we can make sure that it's not. So I think after we're done with this, I'm going to come back here in a couple of weeks with a proposal for this council to give the voters control, direct control over our Ocean Avenue seaside skyline. I think if we do that, we can take a lot of that fear of what might happen off the table and do the right thing on this site and other places where we actually have something to gain in our city.